This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Man, how you doing, Ira? You doing all right? You feeling
I'm
good?
doing good. I am getting ready for Hell Week. I am getting ready for, I think, what'll be one of the most interesting weeks.
An electronic shutdown of the world? Is that what's going on? Is that Hell Week?
or facing the Bulls and the Bucks and the Nets and the 76ers. So, I kind of figure if there's an electronic shutdown of the world and I'm on a Delta flight at 40,000 feet, I'm kind of screwed no matter what I invest in.
Yeah, exactly. You're worried about your crypto. You're worried about the damn plane landing. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you there. Yes. No doubt about that. By the way, before we get into the Heat, so let me get this straight. So, Jeremy Lin's the second coming. Julius Randle's better than Bosch.
Of course.
I mean, the Hawks are just absolutely amazing. They're the second coming also. The Knicks last year, they're going to be phenomenal. So
for years to come.
So now the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks. And James Harden he's arrived. He's the Messiah. And the Sixers have found all the answers. Let's just hand them the title. I mean, can the overreaction be any more silly? Does anybody know about the history of the beard? I mean, come on. Happy now. Is he going to be happy a month from now?
You know what? Everyone jumps to conclusions. Everyone wants to be ahead of the curve on everything. Oh, whether it's investing, whether it's sports predictions, and I get that. Just like people are necessarily writing off the Lakers right now, and yet if Anthony Davis and LeBron are together in the playoffs, people forgetting Anthony Davis is not even playing. You can't make assumptions in late February and early March. Matter of fact, I love that we do these Acura Pembroke Pines reports twice a week. We'll also do one on Saturday this week. I love we talk about it, but we all know the playoffs are what define legacy. We all know that that's a different style of basketball. You don't go into a regular season game saying we have to prepare for this specific James Harden, Joel Embiid approach. You say, hey, it's one of 82 games. We got another game tomorrow. We'll play it mostly straight up. We can't change who we are. And every team has their secret plan B packet that they open for the playoffs. I know Eric Spoelstra does. Like you said, we saw that with Jeremy Lin when he came in hot and the Heat said, okay, enough of insanity.
Lock him down.
Until the playoffs.
No, I was just saying that they locked him down they said, let's play some D on him and let's show him up. But I mean, it's just all of a sudden now it's like, let's put the Sixers there at that spot. And I think they forgot about the media and the fans of that town. I just want to see what happens when things don't go well with Harden and the Sixers for a couple of games and see how they start, acting towards Harden.
And you also have Doc Rivers' very uneven playoff coaching. I know we won the championship in Boston, but ever since then, there have been some really good spots his teams were in, and then his teams were done for the season, and that matters also. So there's a lot of questions here. What I will say is this, just like the week the Heat are facing, the Eastern Conference playoffs will be brutal. And I think when you and I are talking about those series, when I take our Acura Pembroke Pines reports into the postseason, I don't think there's going to be a single Eastern Conference playoff series that won't be compelling, that won't have a storyline. It'll make it all the more special. You can concoct a Heat playoff run where they have to go against the Nets in the first round and the 76ers in the second round and the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Or I can give you a pathway where they play the Hawks in the first round, the Cavs in the second round, the Bulls in the East Finals, and I feel a lot better. It's all about matchups. And until we know the matchups, it's really hard to make forecasts.
How about this? The storyline for me, how Eric Spoelstra is, we might as well give him Coach of the Year already. For me, he won it already because I was looking at this. They're 40-21, right? Yeah, 40-21. So they're nearly 20 games above 500. They have not really been whole a lot yet. And yet, in the process, he's also developed 4 young guys and prepared them to make his team deeper than any of us ever expected or ever imagined. And now you've got Lowry again out for personal reasons, and prayers to him and his family, because obviously it's something serious, and
Yes.
that's the most important thing right now, is that Lowry has gets some kind of closure and peace of mind there, so he can do his job professionally. So let's hope for the best for him and his family right now in that situation. But what Eric Spoelstra has done, I think, goes under the radar around the NBA with media and fans. I think coaches realize what that man has done this year and how he has developed four names that nobody knew. And all of a sudden, you've got this massive bench. I can't say enough about what Eric, this might be his greatest coaching job ever, actually.
And yet, you also have to look at the field and give respect where respect is due. Tonight, the Miami Heat played the Chicago Bulls. For the last month,
Mhm.
it's been Heat and Bulls at the top of the East.
Yep.
Chicago's been without Lonzo Ball. Chicago's been without Alex Caruso. They lost Nikola Vucevic for an extended period when he had bad COVID. What Billy Donovan has done and the way he
Yep.
came to Chicago should not be overlooked also. And the other name
Mhm.
I would throw in there is Taylor Jenkins with the Memphis Grizzlies. No one
Yes.
expected them to be this good. John Morant, remember, had a serious injury. He missed extensive time, and they never lost without him. So again, when people, whether it's Heat fan or someone else, you don't have to denigrate or minimize Eric Spoelstra, what he's done, to also appreciate what some of the other coaching jobs have
For
been.
sure.
And the other name I would give you would be JB Bickerstaff and the Cavaliers, because Big O ain't
Oh, yeah.
none of us at the
Yeah.
start of the year said, better watch out for the Cavs. They could have home court in the first round of the East. There's some really good coaching jobs done. And if you look at all of these guys, they're low profile guys. They're not the kind of guys who go out and seek the limelight. They don't make themselves the story like some other coaches do. They do their job, they do it professionally, and their satisfaction comes from victory. So we're seeing a lot of that. Eric Spoelstra absolutely right up there. If the Heat finish first in the East, has as
Man,
compelling a case as anybody, for sure.
I love what he has done this year, man. I think his job has been just absolutely phenomenal. Um, the Duncan stuff continues, my brother. It just,
Uneven. Yeah.
yeah, it's just no, it's unacceptable. Actually, when you got the contract, kid. I mean, you worked for this. This is it. You got the contract that you deserve because that was the market. But you now got to continue to do what you were doing to get that contract and maybe even play better. Well, he can't even live up to what he did to get that contract right now. There has been zero consistency from his game all year long. Now, the question I have for you is, he can screw around with this, and I'm talking about Spo, for a while now. But, push is going to come to shove now in the next couple of weeks here at one point or another. And when Oladipo comes back, who knows? Things start to
Yes.
change, rotations start to change. So talk to me. Has the fuse started for Duncan Robinson? Does he have to, start performing, or he's going to see himself on the
I think
bench
it's
now?
the reasons you mentioned, because even look right now, with more players coming back, with Tyler Hero back and Caleb Martin back, Max Strus didn't play on Saturday through no fault of his own, because you can
Right.
only play 9 players comfortably. So, Max Strus, thank you. God bless you. I think the real, and again, like you're saying with Victor Oladipo, if he's going up to Sioux Falls like he is right now to get more 5-on-5 work, he's close. Because you don't travel half a country into the dead of the winter in South Dakota to get your workouts unless you finally want to get that last view, 5-on-5. How does he look? And the reason, Big O, for that is this. The Heat did not practice yesterday after a back-to-back. They decided not to hold a shoot-around this week with such an intensive schedule. They probably won't practice tomorrow before they fly to Milwaukee. So there is no 5-on-5 work here for Victor. That's why he went up to Sioux Falls. But yes, he's getting closer. Markieff is getting closer. The other part of this equation is this. Teams are hunting Duncan Robinson on mismatches. We saw that in New York with the early foul trouble, the 3 in the first quarter. We saw that with San Antonio trying to go at him. And there's been no answer there. And for a team that bases so much on their defensive precepts, to me, unless you get Duncan Robinson right on that side of the ball as well, and all we're looking at right now is the three-point shooting numbers, that's a concern also. So look, Max Strus did nothing wrong, but the competition caught up to him. And when it comes to winning and go time and playing for a championship with 35-year-old Kyle Lowry and 32-year-old Jimmy Butler, The Heat aren't waiting on anyone. They're going to put their 8, 9 best out there in the playoff rotation. And if it's not Duncan, it's not Duncan, or else they'll Luke baptize him and he'll play the first 5 minutes of each half to see if he has it going, and then see ya. And we've seen that in recent games as well.
Tyler Herro, man, he has been just absolutely on fire. I mean, you always expect Jimmy, and you love what you're seeing from Bam right now also. But man, to have that guy off the bench and to be able to count on him the way he's been producing, it's been a beautiful thing to watch.
And it's been necessary the last two with the really
Yes.
craptastic starts they've gotten off to. 10-0 down in New York, 12-2 down against San Antonio. So many people, I know you deal with this in your chat session here on YouTube and other places. Why aren't they starting them? Well, there's a reason you have a sixth man award. There's a reason you put people in the best position. If you and I were to list the 5 best Heat players this season, Tyler Herro would absolutely be in that group. But that doesn't necessarily make him a member of your starting 5. And Erik Spoelstra has gone above and beyond trying to not force him in there. For example, tonight with Kyle Lowry dealing with that family issue, he won't be there. I am sure we'll see Gabe Vincent start, so you can leave Tyler Herro in his 6th man role. Teams have thrived in the playoffs with having a defined 6th man. It's interesting. You open our segment here in our Acura Pembroke Pines report about Erik Spoelstra, Coach of the Year. I'm not so sure. You can check the line maybe when you get a chance between your breaks, that there's not more of a favorite for an individual NBA award at this moment than Tyler Herro versus the field when it comes to the 6th man award. So look, it's working. Don't change it. It has been necessary. Tyler time is like that wake-up call. It's like me twice a week at 10:25 in the morning. The phone goes off. Hey, I got to do the Big O in the Acura Pembroke Pines report. You know it. Tyler's the same way. 5 crappy minutes of start. No worry. Tyler's coming.
Hey, 2 words for you. Manu Ginobili.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how important it is that Popovich says, you're an all-star, probably a future Hall of Famer, but I really need you to come off the bench. And by the way, to Ginobili's credit, he was the ultimate pro, never said a word about it, where we know that lots of players would have bitched and complained because they would have taken that as an insult. And to his credit, he understood what Pop wanted to do, and that was a spark for the Spurs for years to come.
And same thing, it reminds me of Michael Cooper with the Showtime Lakers, the same thing.
Right.
Give me an energy guy off the bench. Interesting about Manu, he only made the All-Star game twice, both times when he was a starter, but people inside the game knew what made him special in that 6-man role. The Heat got that right. That's a position. You know what? Oh, it reminds me of the NFL when you had a straight defensive alignment and then you saw so much more nickel and so much more dime, and you realized you had to load up on those defensive backs because it would become your base defensive formation at times also. Your 6th man is the same thing. Erik Spoelstra has his lineup card. I've got to take out Kyle here, 8 minutes into the first quarter. Jimmy plays the whole first quarter. PJ comes out here, and Tyler goes in here. That's as scripted as anything the Heat run in the first quarters and third quarters of games.
Bam, folks talking, or we're watching. Are we watching him take another step?
It's interesting because fans want that. And I sometimes I come on here to be a contrarian on purpose, and I will in this case. It is all well and good when you do it against Mitchell Robinson. It is all well and good when you do it when Jakob Poeltl is out against the Spurs. This week, to me, if I'm circling a day for Bam Adebayo, it is Saturday night, FTX Arena, Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. Because if Bam Adebayo can't stand up to the challenge of Joel Embiid, you're going to have a hell of a problem in that playoff series. And it's not like Dwayne Dedmon's going to save you. So I love that Bam is smart enough to realize, hey, I got these guys on me against New York and San Antonio. I'm going to work. But I'd like to see it a little bit more against Embiid on Saturday. A lot of guys do it against lesser guys. If you're going to be that primetime all-star level guy, you have to do it against maybe the possible NBA MVP for this season. So for me, Bam, circle the calendar date would have to be Saturday against the Sixers.
All right, Saturday against this. Yeah, that's where you want to see the heavyweight matchup. with Bam and with Embiid. That would be actually fantastic. All right. Anything else on the injury front? What do we know about Markieff Morris?
Probably a little bit farther behind in this overall curve than Kyle Lowry. But again, this is more getting approval from a team of doctors, including NBA doctors, that his previous neck injury, this current neck injury, there won't be any adverse effects when he comes back. The NBA does not want to see a player laying on the court. You know, we know going back, in a horrible tragedy, Eric Spoelstra was on the court during that college game when Hank Gathers, when they were, I think it was at Loyola Marymount's gym that it happened. So the NBA doesn't want that. They're being careful. What Nikola Jokic did was exacerbate a previous Markieff Morris injury. Markieff Morris insists he will be back. Word inside the Heat is he will be back. It's taking some time. We're going to hit go time soon enough. But the fact that he traveled to New York on the previous trip for a one-game trip was highly encouraging. He was with his teammates. They're working him back into the mix. He'll be here not as soon as we thought, but soon enough.
All right, one more thing before I let you go, and going back to Depot. Have you spoken to any ex-coaches or anything like that and asked them, so if they do bring back Depot as a coach, what's the ideal time for you? How many games do you think you need to kind of get him acclimated and you as a coach get a feel for him with the current team and how to use him? Have you been able to do any of that kind of stuff?
Yes, and everyone's pointing to one thing. After this two-game trip to Milwaukee on Wednesday and Brooklyn on Thursday, the Heat have a stretch where they play 10 of 11 at home. Acclimating on the practice court, in the gym, with different combinations. You can't play games like that during games. You're trying to win. You're only a game up on the Bull in the East. But the fact is, real practice time is at hand. That's when the acclimation comes. That's when Eric Spoelstra can say, okay, Vic, go in there with Kyle. Okay, go in there with Tyler. Go in there with the second unit. Hey, you know what, Jimmy? Step out for a second. Vic, run with the starters. That's when they'll get a sense. This schedule has worked out perfectly for the Heat. They've stayed afloat during this ridiculous road-intensive start, and now you have this homestand like I have never seen before at FTX Arena, where there will be ample practice time. Oh, that's when they'll find out what they have. This is really coming together perfectly. Vic is just about ready to play, is getting his workouts in the G League, and then he'll have almost a month straight with no travel and plenty of gym time. And you'll still have 10 days in April for the regular season. And remember, with the play-in round, if you're a top 6 seed, you get a full week off. You play Sunday, April 10th. You don't play again until Saturday, the 16th at the earliest. There is plenty of time to make this work. Might not have been what you wanted for as many games, but he's a veteran. Spo's a veteran coach. There's ample time here.
I know what's going on here. Nobody's kidding me here, Ira. I know what's going on here. They're slow walking this thing. They're allowing the Bulls to get in the mix. So that way at the end of the year, oops, we ended up at number 2. Bulls, there you go. You could deal with the Nets at number 8. Go ahead. Knock yourselves out.
And you might be right. But like I told you, there are far easier paths to the NBA Finals than some other paths in the East. So it'll be interesting to see if there can be that, or if it's so tight and so complex, you won't have. Remember, team goes into the play and you have no idea if they're going to be 7 or 8. Right, when the regular season is over, 7 plays 8 in one game. The winner of that is the number 7 seed. Then 9
so you're
and
saying
10
fall to 3. So what you're saying is fall to 3 now.
Unless the Nets make some dramatic move when KD will be back, I believe, Thursday against the Heat. So, and then I think Kyrie, with all these rules and everything, probably in about a week or so, Kyrie will be cleared full time. So if the Nets think they're as great as they are, like you mentioned with the Sixers at the top of our segment here, and they can run the table, look, there's not a lot of great ahead of them. There are 5 teams in the mix. Boston's been okay. Charlotte's really been struggling. This final 6 weeks or so is going to be really interesting.
Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. More importantly, please subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinel like I and so many others do. Support our local media. Although on this show, we support our local media a lot more than normal people. That's for damn sure. Ira, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Talk to you Wednesday for an hour on our Slomin's home security report with Clay Ferraro, and then
Alarmo's ready.
And then comes Saturday, the Saturday special with Big O, and we'll get ready for that big Sixers game and talk about the week that was. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Big O.
You got it. Thank you, Ira. Appreciate you. That's right.